and here I am with yet another episode of Podshots with Bhawna. Well, today is going to be a yet another very interesting conversation because the leader whom I have invited today comes with a huge, rich experience, and he's the one whom we are going to learn that how it's important to have the sustainable leadership, that too under the high pressure environment. So I can bet you that the lessons which we are going to have with him is something which none of us must have learned or will learn in any of the books. So stay tuned till I bring him up onto the screen to have a great, insightful conversation with him. Okay, guys, so I'm so thrilled and excited to have a guest with me today on my show. I would say the guest who has not shaped the careers, but who has actually shaped the leaders, I would say. So, someone who has come with 37 years of experience, out of which 12 years as a founder himself, and the balance 25 years he has spent actually building up new founders and the leaders in various Fortune 500 companies and the impact led organizations. So I would say he has actually helped thousands of professionals to learn and practice a sustainable leadership in a very high pressure environments, and that to peak performances. So I would say that his success leadership is not something which is a playbook which comes from the classroom, but it actually comes from the experiences which he himself has led in the turbulent in building up from the scratch, and then building, scaling, falling, failing, rebuilding, and of course guiding thousands of people. And what is more important, which sets him apart, is that now he is actually putting one third of his time in pro bono leadership initiatives. He runs various thriving leadership communities, and I'm glad I'm part of one of them. So his story is not only insightful but very inspiring as well. So please join me to welcome Mr. Gautam Gouthi, a name very well known in the industry. So welcome, Mr. Gautam. Thank you so much for accepting my invite. It's my privilege to have you on my show.
Hey, thank you, Bhavna. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm so excited and so looking forward to catching up with you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure that, the audience are going to have a very enriching experience. As I said, it's all coming from the experience and not from the books. So look forward to this conversation. So just to let you know the format of the show, so it's a bite-sized podcast, so that's the reason I name it as Podshot. So it's an under 15 minutes show, so I'll be asking you couple of questions in the core grid, and then towards the end let's break the ice and have some fun element to have a 1 minute of rapid fire. So hope you're okay with that.
Absolutely. So I'll be mindful to keep my answers short, under 2 minutes then, if
Okay.
that's what it says for.
Yes, so
Yeah.
it's going to be a challenge to distill all the wisdom in short time, but I'll try my best. Okay.
I'm on the
Okay.
hot seat.
Yes, you are on the hot seat. Okay, so Mr. Gautam, let's start with the leadership first. So you have been, into all this from all this while, and today's leadership actually talks more or depends more about tools and tactics and frameworks and strategies. But you are the one who generally advocates leadership as an from inside alignment. So why do you think, the alignment is more necessary? It should be inside out and not other way as an outside in approach.
Super question, and I'm so glad you asked because that's very foundational to what I do. Uh, I think we've defined leadership very narrowly. In my 37 years of Vertex, as you said, 12 as a startup and 25 as a facilitator and a coach, uh, I think we we want a certain set of behaviors. We've made it all about to get results, to lead teams, and we've decoded them into a certain set of behaviors. The question I really ask the CXOs and the CHROs is, where do that set of behaviors come from? That set of behaviors obviously comes from your belief. So if your belief is, I'm the only one who can do it right, chances are you won't delegate. If the belief is that a good leader must always look in control, chances are you'll manage through fear, not trust. And as Malcolm Goldsmith says, that every behavior is driven by a belief. Align the belief, you align the behavior. And that's why my entire work primarily taught as a foundation on the inner game. We are as good as the inner game. In fact, very interestingly, and I wrote a post the other day, Jemima, when she made that century plus in the semifinals, and in the interview after that, she kept talking, I have been there, I have failed, I have been asked to leave, all of those. Her skill sets didn't change. Her inner game spoke differently. And that's the part why we must be inside out and operate from our inner game. Because how you lead yourself is exactly how you will lead your team members.
I think that's very powerful and very meaningful statement, and I think it very very rightly and aptly said. So because the situations can change, but only it's how we react to it. So the inside alignment is very much important to keep us in control. So very much applicable. So now coming to your this enriched journey of from founder to coach. So as I was mentioning in your intro, that out of these 37 years, 12 years you have been building and scaling your own baby, and to the times that you transitioned as a facilitator and a leadership coach. So what, according to you, do you think which stays with you from those entrepreneur days, those lessons which probably you would have not learned in any of the schools or any books?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because there are so many of them. And interestingly, I was just 20 years old when I started my entrepreneurial journey. I was flat 20. Okay, I was so very, very impressionable years. But if I were to look back, and I often share that with leaders, I frame that as I'll call them be raw, RAW, raw. Now, what does R stand for? I realized both in my 12 years of entrepreneurial journey and in the last 25 years, I've probably engaged with more than 35,000 plus leaders, that everyone talks about ownership, everyone talks about accountability. And we want to impose that behavior. And I flip it over and I say, if you can give room to your team members, the room where they can speak up openly, the room where they can say, I made a mistake, I dropped the ball, help me understand this more, automatically they will operate from a sense of ownership. So raw, RAW, R stands for room. Give your team members room and they'll surprise you with the ownership that they put on the table. A, A stands for authenticity. Most leaders I see either hesitate giving straight feedback. They say, if I were to give them straight feedback, my team member may feel demotivated, disengaged, or they give a feedback which they really don't mean. Your team member is sharp enough to see through it, and it doesn't help your team member either ways. So I believe authenticity / authentic conversations. And that's what has helped me get results both as an entrepreneur and as a facilitator and a coach. Be authentic in your conversations, be honest and concerned for their growth and their well-being. So authenticity means that to me, honest and concerned. So the second piece, A, be authentic, authentic conversation. And W, I would say W stands for wonder, curiosity, Carol Dweck, growth mindset. I'm a BCom graduate, and that's it. No MBAs, no fancy degrees, nothing. My first 12 years as an entrepreneur were in engineering industry. And today I'm coaching some of the finest CEOs in the country. A BCom graduate traversing this journey. What's the magic sauce? The magic sauce is a hunger to learn, a hunger to grow, growth mindset, curiosity, and a wonder to understand what is happening. So three things: RAW, room for team to be safe; A for authenticity and authentic conversation; and W for wonder, curiosity, and growth mindset. I hope that answers your question.
No, I think I'm so glad that you have shared your secret sauce or the secret mantra. So this is something which doesn't come as I was, before you joined, I was telling the audience that today's conversation is not going to be something which we can learn from the books, but it's coming from the experience. So I think you very well resonated with that statement which I made. So it's directly coming from what you have learned, and I'm sure that Uh, people whoever are going to watch this episode are definitely going to get a lot of insights. So now coming to, as you were mentioning, that in all these last 25 years of your actual leadership coach journey, you have you know trained and coached thousands of professionals, and that to C-suite level professionals. So from your experience, is there something which you have figured out that there are still some blind spots at that level of the leadership? And if there are, is there any takeaway which you would want to give to all the senior people who would listen to you, that how can they learn to know it at the early stage? I know it's a
So yeah, a great question again, but let me simply put it this way. So obviously it's difficult to say one, but if I were to say, I wouldn't say a blind spot, but I would say this is one thing that leaders should be more sensitive or aware about. No one wants to tell the emperor is naked. The higher you go, the more people hesitate to tell you what they feel, the honest truth. It was only a child in that fable who could say the emperor is naked. Uh, so deliberately create voices in your team who disagree with you and who differ from you. Because most people would want to agree with you, not because they necessarily believe it to be true, but because you are the CXO. So while I call myself a leadership whisperer, the CXO often laugh and tell me you are more of a truth whisperer, because I show them the mirror. I show them the unvarnished truth. And again, when you're showing truth, be honest with concern. So that's one thing I'd always encourage them. And I encourage my coaches is be open to hear perspectives which are different than yours. Because your biggest risk is success becomes very comfortable.
I think that's a very, very important point which you have raised. And as rightly mentioned, the more you grow, so you become obviously the distance between you and down the line. It's a human tendency that, that gap kind of increases, and not everyone is, that open to come up to you and, say it on your face. So someone like you who has been able to show the mirrors to the leaders to that level, I think that kind of privilege not all the team members would get. So I think it's a very great point, and for a self introspection for the leaders to give the kind of space for the team to come up and be as open as receptive as possible, and not take it otherwise. So I think that is one big takeaway for all the leaders who are listening out. Okay, now
In fact,
coming
if I can
to
just step in for a moment, Bhavna, if I could just step in for a moment, and that's where the first piece that you mentioned, where I talked about your inner game, and I also talked about room. As an entrepreneur,
right,
the room comes in. So if you can give your team the room, they will do that. If you can't give your team the room, they will not be able to do that. That's
true,
what Amy Edmondson calls that psychological safety. So if
right.
you see, everything that I'm saying is actually connected and interdependent on each other. Over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all weaved as your entire framework. So makes a lot of sense. But it's just that how many people or the leaders at that level actually are adaptable to this kind of framework. So that's the key thing. Okay, but anyway, coming to the next is that let's talk something about, since you have been coaching leaders to perform under pressure as well. So it's always good, when it's everything is hunky dory and things are all smooth, businesses are running fine. So everything, the behavioral part is also very well taken care. But when the things are in adverse, or not conducive, or the high pressure thing, so what is your suggestion to the leaders to anchor to that kind of sustainability, or anchor in the time of chaos and adverse times?
So pressure only reveals who you are, right? And when I say who you are, I again go back to your inner game. The more sorted you are, the more behaviors you respond under pressure. So a Ratan Tata under pressure is not going to be shouting, but a manager who's insecure under pressure could turn to shout. So to demonstrate, the behaviors you demonstrate under pressure are the same behaviors you build in peacetime, but you build those behaviors with intention, with focus, align your inner game, and you choose to therefore be someone uh, who puts the best, who wants to get the best out of his team. So, as I said, to me, pressure doesn't change who you are. It simply turns the inner game into the outer game. Anchor into your inner game behaviors, and under pressure, you will keep demonstrating the same behaviors.
So I think we have actually come the full circle of the thing. We started from the inner game, and so this was actually the last question in my core grade. So it has actually very well weaved back to the same thing where we started. That all begins from internal approach. So internal alignment is key. So I think it was wonderful, wonderful conversation, Gautam. I think I would love to continue this forward, but maybe we'll have a part two of it sometime later. But for this time, they're keeping the format in mind. So thanks once again. So now, very curious to ask you some informal, quirky questions as well, to know you a little more, which we do not know you on the social media. So, so if you are fine, then I'll just put the timer on. Okay.
Yeah, shoot.
Okay. So, according to what books, mentor, or life, what taught you the most?
Books, mentor, or life? Life.
Okay, great. One behavior, according to you, which every leader must unlearn.
Uh, Thinking they know it all.
Perfect. What gets you more charged up? Is it a cup of a coffee, some compliments, or actually the chaos turns you, in a recharge mode?
Chaos along with coffee.
Okay, good combination. Okay. Since you keep on, roaming around, and, so have you ever thought, or, a very weird thought, of coaching the Uber driver while you were actually driving from one place to another? So did it anytime cross your mind?
Um, on a fun note, I always say that the coachee should want to be coached, and I can't coach someone who's not wanting to be coached. On a serious note, I often feel that there are some people, the Uber drivers or whoever that category, who I wish we could help them go to the next level, because they're doing tremendous job there. And I don't know how, but I wish I can help them in some manner there.
Sure. Uh, Now, last one. If your workshop had some background track, so which song would you like to play? It could be English, Hindi,
Now
or any
that's a
language.
tough one. We need no education.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good one. Okay, so this brings us to the end of the rapid fire as well. So I think it was a great, fun, loving conversation. So thank you so much. I think this entire episode, and we are very much on time. 15 minutes were pure, big shot of wisdom. I would say instead of pot shot, it was actually a big shot of wisdom. So thank you once again, and would really love to have you meet you also sometime. And I think the pro bono work which you are doing, in fact, that is one of the inspiration. If I have another 10 seconds, maybe what drives that inspiration, you can just briefly let us know, because that is something which is a very differentiating factor.
Two things. It started in COVID when people were uncertain and they reached out to me, my participants, that could I help them for this new era, and that's how it started. And today I do three things, and this is for all your viewers. On the first of every month, I announce 24 pro bono coaching sessions. So your viewers are invited to go to my LinkedIn page and register for them. It's absolutely free. Two coaching sessions. More than 750 leaders have benefited. Second, every quarter I do a masterclass. December, I'll be doing my next masterclass. Again, I'll be putting on my LinkedIn page, and your viewers are invited to be part of it. And a WhatsApp community, you could share the link if you like, where you're already a
Sure.
member. Now, what keeps me going? Because I believe that I see people who are immensely successful and yet stuck.
Mm.
How can I help the people who are successful yet stuck fly to meet their star? I don't want them to do the mistakes that I have done in life, and I have done practically every single mistake there is in the book. I don't want them to do that. I don't want them reinventing the wheel. I want them to have a far faster, accelerated career track than I did. So this is my paid forward to the community. This is a gift I have, and this is my favorite paid forward moment.
I think this is purely wonderful and beyond words to appreciate, because very rarely many leaders who reach to this level do such kind of initiatives, and really very thankful to you to come up with this initiative. And I hope that many people do get benefited from this initiative. So thank you once again, and wish you good luck. Continue inspiring many of us, and probably I think this is a chain effect. I'm sure that many more people are going to get inspired after this episode as well. So thank you so much, and I wish you good luck, and thanks again for coming to the show.
Thank you, Bhawna, for having me here. A
Yes,
sheer
my
pleasure.
sure.
And I think that's a wonderful initiative you are doing of this Podshots. And more power to you, and keep shining and keep inspiring people through your Podshots. Yeah. So
Thank you.
wonderful. All the best to all the viewers. Have a charmed life ahead.
Thank you so much, means a lot.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye. Bye.
Wow, what a powerful and insightful conversation it was. And I think I could have gone all along, but keeping the format of the show in mind, I really had to, keep it under 15 minutes. But I'm sure that, each one of you also found it as beneficial as I really found it to be so insightful. And I think Gautam really ensured, and he really emphasized on the fact that leadership is not just a title, it's an identity, and that an identity you have to build it from inside out. So this is a wrap for today's episode, and of course, next week I'll bring up yet another industry leader, and I'm sure that you all are really finding this initiative as worthy as I'm trying to attempt it to bring it onto you. So till we meet next time, stay curious, stay clear, and stay candid, stay authentic, and stay safe. Take good care of yourself and your loved one. See you next time. Till then, signing off.